We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces. We are concerned about the troubling trend of irresponsible, one-sided stories plaguing our country.
Oh, this is the night. It's if the one you love is near. Oh, this is the night on this lovely Bella Notte.
Good morning from the office. Eminence Front. It's a put-on. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. North Georgia's only live online morning. It's a put-on, folks. It's a put-on. St. Clair Media. CNN, MSNBC, The Washington Post. Put on, right? I'm your host, AP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. We've got a big show this morning. Ever like to get in touch with the show? Let's start out like that. 76889-9700, and that is our 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week hotline for new day 2 without glasses. Walked off and forgot the glass on day 2. I could not see it from at that screen. So anyhow, also you can follow us on Twitter at Fetcher News, at FYNTV, and go to our YouTube channel, Fetcher News, FYNTV, and subscribe today, and you'll get a notification anytime we're doing a live broadcast. Our guest this morning at 8:30, current Secretary of State of Georgia and Republican candidate for governor here in Georgia, Brian Kemp, will be our guest at 8:30. From here on out, just let you know, we will have political guests daily. My goal has been, since we opened FetcherNews.com and FYNTV.com, my goal has always been to bring you, the voters, the most information so you can make your decision, not some media group. Your decision. So we will have different candidates. We are working on some more in-studio candidates. Just to let you know, we do offer the candidates to come into the studio, but many are traveling the statewide candidates, and they are calling interviews. So that being said, Villanova is the national champions. Did you watch Dante DiVincenzo. This is Dante, 31 points, right? 31 points off the bench for Villanova. Have 2 nice shots against Michigan. I did not think, for all of you Michigan fans, don't get upset. I don't know how you did in your March Madness brackets. But I did not have Villanova going over Kansas, and I did not have them as the national champions. National champions 2 out of 3 years. So congratulations to the Villanova Wildcats for their win last night. The second half, it was probably pretty easy to see that Villanova was going to run away with this and win. But I will have to say they started putting on a pretty good show. And I stayed to the end to watch the basketball show with Villanova. So March Madness is over. Now it's time for April showers and politics that bring May candidates for their party, right? So May 22nd is the primary election here in Georgia. And again, congratulations to Villanova. And March Madness is over. So Sinclair Sinclair Media. Well, before we get there, yesterday we had a pretty big breaking news story here that I considered for North Georgia a couple of years ago, not to be exact. They opened a satellite campus, University of North Georgia, UNG, opened a Blue Ridge campus here a couple years back, satellite campus, and obviously in hopes for it to do well, to get dual enrollment between Gilmer, Fannin, Union, the surrounding counties that could take advantage of this area for dual enrollment for high school students. Core classes, specific degrees going through UNG, their Blue Ridge campus. And it has been very successful for the last several years, to the point that they will now have, yesterday, Georgia House Speaker, Speaker of the House of Representatives Speaker David Ralston yesterday announced on this show $5.5 million in this year's budget for a standalone brick and mortar campus for UNG Blue Ridge. So congratulations to
the quality, balanced journalism
everyone in North Georgia that will be able to take advantage of this great facility that's coming our way. So that news broke yesterday here. Now, St. Clair, we're starting to see
journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
Yesterday, the media went off the rails. The left went off the rails over St. Clair Media. All right. And they wrote a script, okay, that their news anchors read all over the nation. And let me just go with this. Trump said St. Clair is far superior to CNN. What we know about the conservative media giant, okay? St. Clair Broadcast Group is not as well known a name in television as Fox News Corp or CNN Turner Broadcasting System, but its reach may rival that of cable juggernauts. Now, let me tell you why their reach is so strong. The company is the largest owner of local TV stations in the country. And I mean small areas, okay? Small areas of the country. They're the largest owner of local TV stations in the country, with 173 stations in 81 broadcast markets that stretch from coast to coast and just about everywhere in between. At a time when local news outpaces national news outlets both in overall viewership and in trust. Now, your local stations, I sent you two of them. They're small towns in New York, okay? The left is going nuts over this, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why the MSNBC and the CNN are going nuts over this, because rural America won the last election, okay? And they have done everything to figure out their narrative to infiltrate, collapse rural America, because you won the last election. Now I pulled up the script of Sinclair Media that was read on some local stations. I have two videos, not the montage of videos, Amanda, the two.
Is to serve our central New York communities. We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that NBC3 produces.
But we are concerned about the troubling trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country. The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first. Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
NBC3, it's our responsibility to report and pursue the truth. We understand truth is neither politically left nor right.
CME Group.
Okay, so that being said, that was one of them. Now this is another Sinclair network that's reading the same thing. Let's play that one. If you got that one, let's play that one, and then we'll talk about it for a minute.
Listen, Bybee, our greatest responsibility is to serve our central New York communities. We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 5 produces.
But we are concerned about the troubling trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country. The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first. Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
At CBS 5, it's our responsibility to report and pursue the truth. We understand truth is neither politically left nor right. Our commitment to factual reporting is the foundation of our credibility, now more than ever. But we are human, and sometimes our reporting might fall short.
If you believe our coverage is unfair, please reach out through our CNYCentral.com website by clicking on Content Concerns. We value your comments. We will respond back to you.
We work very hard to seek the truth and strive to be fair, balanced, and factual. We consider it our honor, privilege, to responsibly deliver the news every day. Thank you for watching, and we appreciate your feedback.
Okay, folks, here's what the left, the CNN, and everyone see wrong with this for a reason, because those until you live in Walnutport, Pennsylvania. Now, I'm just telling you, until you live in Walnutport, Pennsylvania, and you pick up the Channel 10 newscast that my mother and father will not miss, okay? Blue Mountain News or something, okay? And it is a local nightly newscast that resembles what you just witnessed on the screen, all right? Until you've been in that area of rural America that understands that newscast in those small little markets, 85% of Americans trust local news outlets. Those are people they feel they get to know. Those are people they feel they trust, okay? Higher than the 77% for family and friends, according to a Pew Research Center. But the stunning video that showcased is anchors reading required scripts that seem to parrot one of President Trump's favorite themes has drawn renewed scrutiny to what critics see as the media. Okay, let me just say this before I go too far. Talking Points, all right? Based in suburban Maryland, Sinclair owns and operates local news stations around the country in cities such as Bakersfield. What they need to do is get rural America to listen to the left's propaganda. Now, Talking Points, they cannot stand that somebody actually stood up and said, control what people think. Some media outlets control what people try to control what people think. All right? They can't stand that. Have you ever watched on Sunday morning in the deep state? Have you ever watched, This Morning with George Stephanopoulos and Martha Raddatz, Chuck Todd, okay, Meet the Press with Chuck Todd, CBS, whatever that show is, I forget what it is, Face the Nation, Fox News Sunday, okay, State of the Union on CNN. Have you ever gotten up in the morning and clicked from CNN to all day long to MSNBC and say, sends out these talking points? Who sends out the narrative to send us in a direction? They are concerned about Sinclair Media coming out and exposing to rural America, all right, about controlling what people think and media bias. Let me ask you a question before we get too deep into this, and we'll talk about this again at 9 o'clock, because I am going to show you what the left is thinking and what they're saying, all right? Let me just say this. How fast was everything put together for a national campaign, March for Our Lives? lies. How fast did CNN put together a town hall narrative to go after the NRA? How fast nationally? How fast did they try to manipulate what you think about gun control, what you think about the NRA? How fast did they put a show together to make these children heroic against a Senator, Marco Rubio? How fast did CNN put a show together to make these children heroic with a sheriff, a coward of a sheriff, Scott Israel, and Scott Israel, the sheriff of Broward County, standing up and attacking the NRA? How fast did we find out that CNN basically wrote these questions? How fast did we find out that CNN would not allow certain students to ask questions that did not fit the narrative? How fast? How fast did we see March is they feel they've got to put a stop to Trump TV. Now, that thing is Trump TV, but this morning on MSNBC, Joe and Little Willie and the gang, they are talking about conservative news and conservative news controlling the message. And I'm going to tell you their goal is, they said, hey, it's coming from the Trump TV, the conservative news networks, the conservative media, Sinclair Media Group. So immediately they went out and they found members of some stations with Sinclair Media Group to say, oh no, we won't do this. We won't read this message. We will not be a part of it. We're sickened by it. All right? I'm telling you right now, they have to, as small as our show is, we have a nice little reach. We come on here every day. Every day we just get a little bit stronger. Every day we have a couple more viewers, and every day things get a little better, and we're able to help get the message out about negative stories that are not true in the media. We work on that on a daily basis. Yesterday, March for Our Lives town halls, right? I think we brought that up yesterday. We talked about that, how they orchestrate the resist. They orchestrate disrupting town halls. But Sinclair Media, our show here, and many of the ones you watch and listen to today, they have to try to take down. Bezos, okay, for the Amazon, Washington Post, directly trying to manipulate an election. I'm just saying, Sinclair Media, and it's funny when I hear the lefts, their head spinning off, when they have controlled the talking points immediately. Every morning, you can look at every station. You could flip from Good Morning America to whatever daily shows on NBC to whatever daily shows on ABC, CBS morning show, the national morning shows, 4 major networks on a Sunday morning to watch the show. Well, we'll give CNN 5 major media groups on Sunday morning, and the lead on all 5 can be something like Stormy Daniels, or the lead on all 5 could be James Comey, or the lead on all 5 could be McCabe, or the lead on all 5 could be Russian collusion in the Trump White House. That is the talking points that they put out, that they have tried to manipulate you through the media for how many years. And now local stations that the news anchors are trusted as high as 75 to 80% in the areas, and where else? Rural America. They have already done a study, folks. Sinclair Media. There are groups that have done a study to see in Sinclair Media how many, all right, how many of those markets Trump won. Seriously. Never again. When those kids stand up and I'm getting a little sidetracked because I want to get to some other things. When those kids stand up on stage, all right, Hogg, which just lost, a pouting little brat, and I'll tell you what he lost a minute ago, in a minute. They go out and they yell never again. You need to understand that's code word nationally for never again can we let what happened in the national election with Donald Trump becoming president. They are studying where they have studied everywhere that Russia may have put an ad, a Russian bot ad on Facebook. They are studying now Sinclair Group, how many of those markets. They even have doing a study that the average newscast in those areas gave Trump 5 minutes on the nightly news during the campaign. They are studying that now. There is a map that dot all of the Sinclair media outlets, news outlets, okay? And they have them all dotted out and their reach, how big their reach is and how much of that area Donald Trump won. We are together, one by one, little voices like this show here, your voice, and others in America. We are one by one exposing the deep state and the crooked media for their fake news narrative every night, every day, and every morning. That's what we're doing, and that's what they don't like. They can't take it. That's why their heads are spinning off. All right, first of all, I want to come back at 9 o'clock. Our guest in a minute will be Brian Kemp, Republican candidate for the governor of Georgia. We're going to talk to him at 8:30. He's calling in. Don't get confused, folks. Okay? The stock market dropping. All right? Don't get all worried. It dropped 700 points, recovered some, dropped 4 something. Don't worry about the stock market. It pales in comparison. It pales in comparison, okay, to the coming wave of what takes place when we can no longer pay teachers' pensions and public employee pensions. This pales in comparison. Do not think for one walking out of school in Kentucky, we'll talk about at 9 o'clock, is over textbooks. It's over getting enough money for classrooms. It's not for one. Unions are trying to get more money, okay, in Oklahoma and Kentucky, much like West Virginia, so you can have more money in your classrooms or get an updated textbook. Not true. Pensions. Watch and see. Fox News released a statement yesterday. Do we have a picture of David Hogg, the child, the Pounty? No, he would not like that. That was a man.
I'm going to go ahead and apologize to Brian Kemp right now.
Okay.
I've got a picture of him.
All right. Anyhow, there you go. The little pouting little boy that got all upset, that wanted to attack Laura Ingram's sponsors. Okay. It said Laura Ingram is a bully. And I think we have that video we're going to play later today also. That pouting little boy, the little child, along with his Obama children, his Obama friends, went after Laura Ingram to the point that Laura Ingram did apologize just to get it out of the way. But Fox News made a statement yesterday. Jack Abernathy, the co-president of Fox News, said, "We cannot and will not allow voices to be censored by agenda-driven intimidation efforts. We look forward to having Laura Ingram back hosting her program next Monday when she returns from spring vacation with her children." So Laura will be back Monday. Fox is not pulling the plug on their show from the little, radical there, the little child who threw a little tantrum and tried to get something going. Sinclair Media, really, we cannot allow voices to be censored by agenda driven intimidation efforts. And that's what their whole movement is. I'm your host, BKP. We're going to take a break. When we return, we're going to have Republican candidate, Georgia candidate for governor, Brian Kemp, with us. Take us to break, Amanda. Oh, no, I'm not.
Had the time of my life. I never felt like this before. I swear it's the truth, and I owe it all to you. I'll tell you something. This could be love, because I've had the time of my life. I've never felt like this before, 'cause I've had the time of my life.
The Tupelo Tea mission is to provide over 80 premium tea blends for tea lovers who are looking for ways to explore new flavors and blends. Come visit Tupelo Tea, located in beautiful downtown Blue Ridge at Sycamore Crossing. Be sure to sample our various varieties of honey and tea. Visit us on the web at tupelotea.com or call us at 706-946-TEAS. That's TEAS. Tupelo Tea, located in beautiful downtown Blue Ridge.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, simply from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband, Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart.
Days ahead. It's just this simple. Nobody beats days on price. If it's a Chevy, you'll pay less at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Now save $4,000 off a new 2018 Chevy Malibu, or save up to $10,000 off a new 2018 Silverado Crew Cab. You choose. Nobody beats days on price. $10,000 and $4,000 off Malibus at Days Chevy in Jasper.
Better days ahead. Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Show, and we are joined on the phone this morning with Republican primary candidate for Georgia governor, Secretary of State Brian Kemp. Secretary of State Kemp, how are you this morning?
Doing great. Good morning. Good to be on with you.
Are you out traveling today? Are you on the campaign trail? What's your schedule like this week?
No, it is definitely traveling. Moved from our debate forum in Flowery Branch Saturday night. I left early Monday morning, headed to Southwest Georgia. We had an event there, a really good event last night. Traveling this morning over from Georgia, asking people for their vote to win this race.
The other night, Saturday night, I was over at Flowery, Georgia. But anyhow, you said you were the only one that has visited every county candidate. What is it like when you get in some of the real rural counties in Georgia?
Well, I am, in fact, the only person that's been to all 159 counties, plus the only person in the race that has run a executive branch agency that has many core functions in government. And we work with all these counties, you know, the county elections officials, registrars, many probate judges. And just like where I was last night and today, I mean, people, you know, they're concerned about having access to good quality health care. You know, they have hardly any access to the internet. Actually limits on the amount of data that they use every day, even if they do have internet services. So, you know, these issues, when you think about their kids trying to get educated, career opportunities in the future from an economic development perspective, and even for our farmers having the technology that they need to continue to compete on this world market that we're involved in. And so those are a few of the issues that we're facing.
Well, let me go to this. We talked about Saturday night, and I did not hear several of the other candidates go in this direction like your campaign is going in. Your campaign is being called a populist direction right now. You have a Georgia First, kindly mirrors Trump's America First campaign, Georgia First. And when we talk about Atlanta, not to get into transportation and in the infrastructure of Atlanta, but when we talk around Atlanta, you say it's a Georgia distribution hub for Mexican drug cartels. And to me, that makes me nervous. Your public safety reform, discuss that a little bit. We may have lost him. He told me he's traveling and that if we do lose him, he would call right back because he's in sketchy areas. So we did have a real clear, I think we did lose him, Amanda. And he said he would call right back. So if you get, all right, are you back? Okay, wait just a minute here, folks. We're trying to get the Secretary of State back on the line. He's out campaigning and traveling and today. So he said he was going to be in real bad areas. And hopefully if something happened, he would call back immediately. We got him back. Are you back with us, Mr. Secretary?
Yeah, my apologies. I had a little bad pocket there.
No, that's okay. You told us that to begin with. Let me go back to this and let me recap. We talked about instead of talking about right now transportation and moving Georgia forward with infrastructure, the public safety reform, when you discussed Saturday night about Georgia distribution hub for Mexican drug cartels and you know, MS-13, talk about your public safety reform that you're ousting the state with.
Well, you know, it's as the person that chaired the Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee when I was in the legislature in the mid-2000s. I worked with a lot of law enforcement, a lot of prosecutors, and then certainly as the only candidate in the race that has a law enforcement division under their purview, as I do in the Secretary of State's office, with almost 40 in our investigative division. 20 of those are post-certified. I just had worked with a lot of law enforcement. And obviously running for governor, you're part of your job is keeping Georgians safe. And I've been speaking to a lot of state elected officials, local sheriffs, and other people in law enforcement. And not only, it's not just Atlanta. Our whole state has become a distribution hub for the Mexican drug cartel, and gangs are flourishing in Georgia. There is not a week that goes by that you don't read about some sort of gang-related or drug-related shooting, murder, assault. I mean, just these violent crimes, and it's not something that anybody wants to talk about. But when we're in the country for business, the last thing we need is a bad reputation of not being a safe place to live. And it's time that somebody did something about that. And that really comes to the whole aspect of my campaign of putting Georgians first ahead of the special interest, the status quo, the politically correct, and those that are here illegally. Because Georgians are fed up, with Mexican drug cartel individuals coming into our state, going to even rural communities where there's not enough law enforcement in some areas. And it's not because of, that law enforcement's not doing a good job. They're just, big land area counties. They don't have a a lot of law enforcement folks because the populations aren't high, and they're wreaking havoc on distributing drugs that are leading to part of the opioid epidemic and other things that are just, wreaking havoc in our state. And I'm going to be a governor that's going to do something about it, which is why I developed the track and deport plan and the criminal alien database that we're going to create under Kemp administration.
What is that criminal database? You've mentioned that several times. I heard you talk about it Saturday night. Explain a little bit of what the criminal illegal alien database is.
Well, it's going to be a database that can be used by all kind of law enforcement officials, breaking down the silos that exist now between the locals and the state and the feds, being able to actually see who we have here, what are the crimes they're committing, where are they being committed, and all of this type of thing. Because like when you ask the question, how many illegal convicted criminals do we, for that question, that's costing the taxpayers a lot of money. When somebody comes in to say a Franklin County north of Athens where I gets busted, they get bonded out, and then they go back to Mexico or wherever, create a new identity, and the same person goes, say, over to, Haralson County on the west side of Atlanta in a rural county over there and does the same thing and gets arrested again under a new name, and we don't have any way of identifying that person. So this database would do that through names, aliases, pictures of markings, whether they're tattoos, scars, anything that's out there and is available, to create this database where we can all of a sudden have the locals go to one place to check a person that they may arrest, that cannot keep up with the data from the states because there's no good way to track. So we're going to do that in Georgia, and we're working on some other things now to give law enforcement the tools they need also to go after these gangs.
When law enforcement arrest under a Governor Kemp administration, when law enforcement would arrest a suspected illegal, I don't know how to frame this question really. Would you be okay with law enforcement running checks to see if they are citizens? Go ahead.
Yes, and what we're going to be doing, instead of the way the law reads now, it says local governments, basically may participate in these type programs. Well,
right,
legislation, our legislation is going to require them to do that, and these are the kind of things that law enforcement is telling me. I have had a GBI agent tell me about trying to pick up or having that's what the law is. So we're not going to give opportunity to opt out of this. They're going to be mandated to do it. So the resources, if we can deport them and get them out, that cost goes away. I just really heard a story last night from an individual that is working because the country wouldn't take the individual back. And she goes, there's no teenage daughters and a husband, no stuff. And I'm going to make sure as governor, we're doing everything that we can for families.
Well, let me ask you a question just on that vein, because illegal, we're hearing the president this week very strong on ending DACA and the deal that he says is not going to happen now, border wall. And he won nationally basically on that being, maybe one of the top three issues that the voters put him in the Oval Office. But let me say, I was listening to you talk about law enforcement, that my words, that a city did not cooperate. So we don't do that. As the powers of the governor, what kind of legislation would you put in place that would, for example, what took place with the Oakland mayor? You said when the Oakland mayor tipped off illegals that ICE was on their way, you actually sent the president a letter saying, hey, send those ICE agents here. We'll be glad to have them. But what exactly, when you say law enforcement go into a city that somebody's incarcerated and they say, hey, we don't participate or whatever, what kind of legislation or what can we do to prevent that from happening and get cooperation among all law enforcement, city officials in Georgia?
Well, first of all, that's just outrageous what happened in Oakland. I don't think very many people think that that's even possible that somebody would do something like that. But under a Kemp administration, and that's really what the criminal illegal alien database and changing the language from may to shall will force the local law to participate. So that'll be one of the changes right there. I'll enforce the law and defund that are participating in sanctuary cities. I mean, we've got a rule of law in this country. We need to follow it. I think Georgians are. And I just bewildered too that the president ran on the border wall and they still have not funded that. I think most people. Which is why I was the first candidate in the race and really one of the first to come out and support Senator David Perdue and Senator Tom Cotton's act that would reform the process, end chain migration. People that we are allowing to come into the country legally are going to be, good members of our society, contribute to our economy, and not just be a chain to bringing in other family members that are good for society. I think people want to reform that system. They are borders. I mean, even Democrats, or they at least used to, would always say we need to secure the border. So why not do all of this together? At the same time, we can reform, government programs that are helping our farmers and others get their crops out of the field by reforming and cutting the red tape out of the, legal guest worker programs that do make sense. Continue to block the border wall funding.
Well, Secretary Kemp, I will tell you, obviously over at Flowery Branch Saturday night, I listened to all 7 candidates, and I went back and listened to the debate again that I recorded. And, out of all the 7 candidates, it's just on video to see that, you really put a lot of focus on illegal immigration, and MS to target zero in on it, supporting our prosecutors, DAs, ADAs, making sure they have the resources. Now, obviously, arresting these individuals, but what specifically prosecutors, DAs, and ADAs resources would you make available? Because I hear that all the time once illegals get picked up from
Maracus and Georgetown and Georgia, and the same could be said for some of the rural communities that stretch in my area of the state between Athens and Augusta. They have so many other things going on, and they haven't, been to court and tried to prosecute and go after a lot of these larger drug cartels or the kingpins or what have you. In Action Metro area, a DA there to help them with that prosecution. So I think that's something that we need to look at is, how do we get those resources to other parts to expand from what's happening in the metro area, either from a prosecution standpoint, but also from the law enforcement side when you think. And then another issue, quite honestly, is continuing to have attorneys and prosecutors in these circuits. The DAs, obviously, I think have had a concern for years about being able to retain quality assistant district attorneys that are prosecuting and doing much of the work in these circuits. And when people are from a metro county, the circuits are pretty small. But when you get to these rural counties, these DAs are working, sometimes in 3 to 4 or up to 7 counties. So they physically can't go to every county or every place that there's a trial being had. And resources for them to be able to prosecute these crimes is one of the core functions of state government, which is why part of my point plan, besides making Georgia #1 for small business, is to do a spending cap that's tied to population. We budget conservatively. We properly fund the things that we need to over in good years like we're in now, and we can do real tax reform. But my point there is that we properly fund the core functions of government like health. Protecting our families, and we need to make sure our law enforcement personnel and prosecutors have the resources to do just that.
Well, you know, I will bigger, higher profile crime as much as even drug gang related people in the areas that these are having to handle cases like that. So I understand what you're saying there. Let me go to one more thing, and I know you have to go. I told you only 20 minutes, and I know we got cut off. But Saturday night, there was a discussion about bipartisan, as a governor, bipartisan. And let me read what you said. And you said, as your nominee, Republican nominee, if you win the primary, as your nominee, I will work hard to get elected in the general election. But as your governor, I'm going to implement what I have told you here tonight. Now, let me ask you, my question is, obviously, you're in a conservative 9th district. Obviously, your message is very conservative on the platform, what I see, other candidates also, but very conservative on the platform, maybe playing to the base. Are you explaining that if, as the nominee, that you, in the general election, you're going to have to go for the win, but you'll govern like the primary candidate that you were on the stage Saturday night?
Well, I'm going to continue to campaign in the general election just like I have right now, because I actually think that the conservative issues that I have, a majority of Georgians believe in those things. And that was one of the points that I later made in that same statement, was that, you know, there's a lot of Democrats serving in the state that would support an agenda to make Georgia #1 for small business. When you look even some places that are rural, but our small business people are continuing to get squeezed. Their health care costs are going up, if they even have it at all, and their margins continue to go down. And we need a governor that's going to cut regulations and make it easier for small business people. I don't know how anybody, whether they're Republican or Democrat, cannot support a plan to make sure that all areas of our state have the same opportunity if they would like to do that. Where our cities, you know, don't keep bleeding populations where they're going to become insolvent. That is a huge issue in our state. I believe Democrats will support that. I believe the Democrats will support putting Georgians first and those that are here illegally. I mean, if Democrats are going to vote against the plan to create a criminal illegal alien database so that we can go at Mexican drug cartels and gangs like MS-13, then, as I said Saturday night, Republicans are going to be in control for a long. My point was, when I become governor, I've been pledging to people that I would do. That is one reason that I'm running, to put Georgians first. People are tired of politicians making decisions based. Other are doing nothing when they get in office. So my answer was that when I become governor, I'm going to implement my 4-point plan, just like I told people I would do. And you know what? If I get voted out of office for doing that, then that'll just be the way it is. But I believe politicians that campaign on something and then do what they say will be in good shape when they face re-election.
We appreciate it, Mr. Secretary. Let me close with this. Saturday night, your campaign has put out information. I'm on your email list, calling this a two-man race, saying that your campaign is closing in on Casey Cagle. But Saturday night, you were not the candidate that others on the stage were going after and naming. You didn't get a lot of rebuttal time because they weren't going after you. Why do you feel some of the candidates are positioning for Hunter Hill and Casey and not so much yourself if your campaign feels you're in the second spot?
Well, I think when you have a record like mine and you've done what you say, there's limited things that they can target me on, and certainly others in the race have positions that are not necessarily the case, and I think it opens them up to attacks. But I'm proud of the record that I have as Secretary of State. I'm actually running on that record, the only person in the race to have legislative experience, executive branch experience, and who has been a, private sector, hardworking small business person for over 30 years. Every single day I've ever served in elected office, including today, I've stood up and done what I told people I would do to make sure we have secure elections in Georgia, suing the Obama Justice Department our citizenship check, and protect our photo ID law, standing up to liberals like Stacey Abrams and her leftist voter groups that are George Soros. And I'm going to continue to do that. And if that's my record in that kind of function, I'll be glad to do it. So I would be able to speak it while their targets are going where they may. But I think it's in front of them to help them move up the ladder, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the person they're picking on is in front of me. So we're fighting to be one.
Do you have internal data that shows you're closing in on Casey Cagle? I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. Do you have internal?
No, well, we're all the polling, just the feel that we have on the ground is it is a two-man race, and to keep it that way, we want to be in. I want to be one of the candidates in the runoff when we go to July, and if we do that, we're going to win this race because I've worked the state, a bigger, more motivated statewide base. I think a good example of that is that we had, more donors than Casey Cagle did. Now, he's got a lot more. Last time I checked, and being in charge of elections, I know that this is a fact. We count the votes, not the amount of money that somebody gets.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. We appreciate you very much, and we look forward to having you on again several more times between now and the election.
That sounds good. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. That's Brian Kemp, Republican candidate for Georgia governor, also currently Secretary of State. We're going to take a brief break. We're going to come back, and when we do, I want to recap a little bit on the 3 interviews I've done in the last 2 days with 3 of the candidates, and then we'll get into discussing a little more on the media bias, as some claim. I'm your host, BKP. Take us to break.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, downdraft spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia: LJ, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Medium Pizza Hut pizzas just $5.99 each.
Did they say Pizza Hut?
For $5.99?
Yes, and yes.
Yes. Introducing the deal you want on the pizza you crave. 2 medium pizzas just $5.99 each. No one out pizzas the hut.
I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. Villanova, the national champions, two out of 3 years here. So 706-889-9700, 706-889-9700, chief@fetchernews.com. Email us, good morning from the office. Also follow us on at FYN TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, FYN TV, Fetcher News, and you'll always get notifications when we're doing a live broadcast or we upload a new video. Now we have for our 9 o'clock hour, let me recap. We post everything. And our goal here has always been to get you, the voters, the most information. And that's it, okay? We just keep talking to the candidates and get them to talk. And you can come back and hopefully you can make your decision on who you want to vote for. The campaigns are in high gear, meaning we will have an interview or possibly 3 a day here, okay? We will be the leading place. We may not be in Atlanta, and we may not be in one of the major markets, and we may be in one of those markets. I feel like Sinclair Media for a minute, right here, Amanda. We may be in one of those markets, but we reach the international audience and statewide audience, and we plan to bring the most information for voters, even on the governor level. So let me tell you a little bit of what we're doing, okay? My goal, I figured I should answer some questions now. Our company rule, and let me say it like this. I've always been a believer that if you pay your money, okay? If you pay and you get your name on the ballot, it is our job at FetcherNews.com to let the voters know that you're a candidate. It's our job, period. I think the voters should know every candidate option they have. And I thought about this because some media debates or interviews are based on a percentage of polling data. And remember when there were so many candidates on the Republican stage, there was discussion that a candidate had to be polling 1.5% or whatever, 2% or 4% or something. A candidate had to be polling a certain percent for the networks to accept that candidate, whether they're qualified or not and paid their money to the party to be on the stage for a debate. So here's what I'm going to tell you. I think his name's Eddie Hayes. I got to double check, okay? I don't want to do it wrong. I do think his name's Eddie Hayes, and I know it's Mark Erbach. They are candidates that qualified to be on the ballot for you to vote for governor in the Republican primary. I will invite them for one-time interview, one time. They're not polling at 1% that I'm aware of. They're, haven't even reached the meter of cracking 0.5% if I'm realistically. But I thought to myself, it's wrong if I don't give them an interview. So I'm going to invite them to be on the show for about 15 minutes. Second, I'm also going to highlight candidates that do not interview with the show because they are not avoiding me. They are not avoiding Amanda. They are not avoiding FYN TV or Fetch Your News. They are avoiding you, the voter. So if they do not take us up on an interview, okay, or multiple interviews, whenever we ask, it's you, the voters, that they are not speaking to. All right? The other thing I want to bring up is I am going to offer the Republican candidates for it. All right? And what I'm is when I say it, so hold on, because I'm looking at a real debate, okay? Not one candidate getting attacked doesn't get the correct opportunity or the subject. Nobody corrects the subject. And I see this all the time in forums. On the 9th Congressional District, they did a great job. Great job. The staff did a great job. It was a very good forum. I actually got some very good information from the forum. Outstanding. But just going back down the road, in the 9th Congressional District, when the primary last time, we here at FYN TV were the only ones who actually held what I call a real debate between Congressman Doug Collins, former Congressman Paul Brown, Roger Fitzpatrick, and the general, who was the Bernie Fontaine, okay? There was 5 candidates, if I remember. We're the only one that held a real debate, okay? You can go back and watch that. When a candidate attacks another candidate and then the candidate that's being attacked gets 30 seconds to respond, nobody comes up and says, hey, did the subject that this one attacked this one and this one answer? Nobody ever says what truth came out of that. So if they will, I would like to have Casey Cagle, Brian Kemp. I'd like to have Casey Cagle, Brian Kemp, Hunter Hill, Michael Williams, and Clay Tippins together. I would not invite, sounds like a birthday party, I would not invite Mark Erbach or Mr. Hayes to that debate. Don't take that wrong. So we have Hunter Hill yesterday, Michael Williams, and Brian Kemp. We have been in contact with the Cagle campaign. They said they have a very busy schedule. They're seeing what they can do. And he has been on at one time before. We're trying to get him on now. And we'll try to get Clay Tippins on. We'll try to get with his campaign today. I have not reached out, not for any reason, yesterday to his campaign. So moving right along. Also, one more thing, Amanda, I know I'm getting long-winded here, but if you have candidates out there, please don't just tell your friends. Say, I'm wondering about this candidate for Secretary of State. I'm wondering about this candidate for Lieutenant Governor, okay? I'm wondering, all right? Then let me know. Send a question. Don't just look at 706-889-9700. Don't just look at chief@fetchyournews.com. Send me a question for these candidates. Let me research it. Okay? Let's find the information and the answers you want so you can decide who to vote for. Yesterday, I reached out to Matt Gutler. Matt Gutler is the representative in the 8th District, House Seat 8, Georgia House Seat 8. There you go. I'll get it correct in a minute. And I reached out to him yesterday. He is working on some things this week, but said he would be glad to interview as soon as he can get his schedule onto it. So I'm in communication with him. I'm going to be reaching out to his opponent. Yesterday, I reached out to Margaret Williamson. She is opposing Speaker Ralston for the 7th district here, and we will continue to bring commissioners, Board of Education members in the local area as fast as we can, so you can meet them, see who they are to make your decision. All right, now, David Hogg, let's do this real quick. Yesterday, this, the thing with St. Clair Media, timing, I know DACA. I understand. Well, you're not talking about DACA, and the president said DACA this and DACA that, and I think he said hickory dickory DACA. I understand that. I don't want to get caught in that sensationalized story at this time. No disrespect, Mr. President. But yesterday, the media put together a montage, and they're going nuts over Sinclair Media Group. All right. And they have 173 stations in 81 broadcast markets that stretch from coast to coast. Now, the problem that they're finding is that these local news networks are trusted by 77% of families and people in their viewing area. 77%. And we played a couple of those early on, and CNN, obviously, MSNBC, they're going nuts because for not. So let's listen to CNN before we get into David Hogg. All right. Before we get into David Hogg and Laura Ingraham and the Town Hall for Our Lives. Is that what it is, Amanda, I brought up yesterday? Is it Town Hall for Our Lives that they've organized? Okay, folks, do not look at a media group and how they're organized and their information to local rural communities in this country and not pay attention to the organization of one on a Sunday morning show or a Good Morning America show will bring up the failure of the entire system, and that happened in Broward County, Florida. Instead, it's just a yesterday of how nuts they went over Sinclair Media Group and what has taken place.
Attention around Sinclair Broadcasting and its conservative bent. This is a company that owns stations all across the country. And last month I reported that the company was mandating its local stations to produce these media bashing promos. There's been a lot of angst in local newsrooms about this. Now we're actually seeing the promos. So I want to show you what they look like. This is a compilation courtesy of Deadspin that's gone viral this weekend. Just a little taste of what these promos look like.
The sharing of biased and false news
has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets
true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
I think you get the idea there, what's going on. All these anchors and all these markets are required to read this script. It's attacking fake news, but really what it's doing, it's kind of like the Fox Fair and Balanced slogan. It's a way of saying, we're fair, everybody else is biased. It's out of Trump's playbook. And I've been talking to staffers in markets, David, that say they're sickened by this, they're uncomfortable with it. Quote, my staff is up in arms about this. Zerwick, you're in Baltimore. Sinclair's based right up the road. What's your impression?
Brian, I've been reporting this story, as you know, since last summer. My first concern was when they hired Boris Epstein from the Trump White House and made him the chief political analyst, made him a political analyst, and stations were dictated to carry his, what I think of as talking points almost out of the Trump White House. there's a lot of pushback. Look, I think reporters and anchors, especially when you centralize a message, and this is what's important, Brian, if you are centralizing a political message to however many, more than 200 stations, I think it'll be if they get the FCC approval for this, to 200 stations, you have one of the great political messaging machines in the world. And especially, it's the local people you see at the supermarket in Tulsa, Oklahoma, or your hometown in Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, who are delivering these messages. They're not people from New York or Washington who you can dismiss. Much more powerful. I think Sinclair has the potential for that. And I think in some ways people react to that when they see this. Look, this thing by Deadspin is a really clever piece of editing, but it powerfully states what people have been saying about the danger of centralized messaging if a broadcaster decides it wants to send out political messages that way.
Okay, danger of centralized messaging. Now, I for one I just want to use this as a little disclaimer. I for one would be concerned. Okay, I for one could be concerned that Amanda, you pay attention to this because I want you to take this away today. All right, I for one am concerned when a media group has amassed a certain amount of power to dictate direction in this country. Absolutely. We have put things in place before that do not allow certain media groups to merge, combine, buying local news organizations to direct a message. Okay? So I, for one, am concerned. It's interesting that CNN has those concerns also at this time. When I would say the majority of every airport in the United States on every TV this morning has CNN, I would be concerned with that, okay? I would also have the same concerns that the majority, yes, you may argue, even in rural America, the majority of your schools get their free TVs and media equipment from CNN, but the requirement is they have to watch CNN in the classroom and the TVs have to be tuned in to CNN. So the airports, the schools, the grounds for manipulating the message, CNN's okay with that. CNN is okay with making deals with your schools all over the United States and rural America to train your children, to train Emma Gonzalez, to train David Hogg. Okay? Now you think about this. Now listen to me close. You want to talk about some local newscasters, okay, that read a message about concerns for our democracy and how dangerous some of these manipulated stories, basically from me, from CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, the left, the everything is a concern. But you know what? Who can move the message nationally? Who moved? Wait a minute. I want to ask you a question. The message, March for Our Lives, who moved it? A little rinky-dink station in upstate New York? A little small station in, somewhere Iowa? A little tiny station in South Georgia? Moved the message. March for Our Lives walk out of school? Who moved the message to where even in rural America like Gilmer County, okay, Georgia, Fannin County, who moved the message to cause children in rural counties to walk out of school? CNN? Did CNN put the propaganda machine together with all of these students that planned the day? Did they promote this? Did they hype this? Did they participate in this? Did Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, did they? And you're concerned with Sinclair Media Group? Really? Why? Because they're in rural America, basically? Why? Rural America voted for Donald Trump? Why? Maybe they are getting the whole message out. Maybe that's the one area that you have to attack because they're trusted and it never could happen again. I'm going to take a brief break. We'll come back and we'll follow this. Laura Ingraham, if you don't think you're under attack, if you don't think that we are under attack, bringing you information on a daily basis that we do not allow CNN and MSNBC.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in Ellijay, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia: Ellijay, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Medium Pizza Hut pizzas, just $5.99 each.
Did they say Pizza Hut?
For $5.99?
Yes, and yes.
Yes. Introducing the deal you want on the pizza you crave. 2 medium pizzas, just $5.99 each. No one out pizzas the Hut.
2.
And we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. Sometimes I like to go to Twitter and check out the president's Twitter feed to not. Sometimes I want to report immediately on breaking news on Twitter for the president, and then sometimes I get the thought of what I'd like is to see if the president agrees with me today. You know what I mean, Amanda? I don't know if you know. Anyhow, so that being said, I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. Now, 2 hours ago, the president of the United States tweeted out, the fake news networks, those knowingly have a sick and biased agenda. We've known it our whole lives. Our whole lives we've known that they have a biased agenda, are worried about the competition and quality of Sinclair broadcasts. The fakers at CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS have done so much dishonest reporting that they should only be allowed to get awards for fiction. I'm sorry, I must agree. I've been watching these people. Why do you think on Sunday morning I watch all of the shows? I do not watch State of the Union on CNN, but I watch all of the shows. And in fact, newsflash here, this past Sunday, I did not. I just watched it. I will not on Easter Sunday watch one news show. Not one. I watch because, no, they were not going to get my time Sunday, but I watch all of them just so I know where the deep state and the corruption is going, what direction they're moving in. Okay, 2 hours ago. Then right after that, the big caravan, which we've all heard about, of people from Honduras now coming across Mexico and headed for our weak laws border had better be stopped before it gets there. Border, okay? Here's another 2 hours ago. President a little busy. Check out the fact that we can't get a job at ratings challenged CNN. Wait a minute. Check out the fact that you can't get a job at ratings challenged CNN unless you state that you are totally anti-Trump. Little Jeff Zucker, whose job is in jeopardy, is not having much fun lately. They should clean up and strengthen CNN and get back to honest reporting, okay? You have to be against Donald Trump to get the job. And 2 hours ago, thank you to Rasmussen for the honest polling, just hit 50%, which is higher than cheating Obama at the same time in his administration. A friend of mine the other day asked me if I agreed with all of the tweeting the president does on a daily basis, and I say yes. Keep tweeting. Spin their heads off. The left do not know what to do. Okay. So, and Kentucky, Amanda, do you have something for us this morning you want to discuss?
I've got one quick thing here. Last week, or actually the past month, really, we've been talking about Facebook's data crisis.
Yes.
And how they'll sell data. Well, I'm scrolling through and there's like a kind of off the chain news source that has a meme put up yesterday, and it caught my eye, but I tried it. And so I'll read it. And it says, so apparently Facebook has labeled you as either very liberal, moderate, conservative, or very conservative. And it gives you instructions to view what you are. You can go to your settings and then go to your account settings, your ads, your information, your categories, and then to US politics. So, I've never even heard of this. And so I go to it and I am labeled very conservative.
Whoa, stop the presses. Are you telling me this is true and accurate that Facebook is putting people into categories and you actually check this? That's from your Facebook page?
This is from my Facebook account. Okay.
So wait a minute. Whoa, stop. When I say stop, just stop a second. So you read that Facebook is doing this?
Yes.
Stop. So you went, and I want to get this correct because I don't want to get attacked by CNN as being fake news.
Right.
Okay. I don't want to fall into the fake news that's out there. So you took this post and you went to your Facebook account on Facebook.
Yes.
And you followed the directions.
Yes.
And Facebook has you in a category.
They have categorized me as very conservative. I do not have what political party I agree with. I do on occasion when I find them, from Google, because what actually is very disturbing about this is I've noticed here, especially in the past couple of years, as long as Trump has actually been in office, I am bombarded with Democratic or, very, very left style posts and memes and ideas and friends that are, Democratic or very, very far left. It's like people on my feed that have the same views as me or anything else. I never see their stuff on my feed. And I didn't even think about this until yesterday when I saw this, and I thought how disturbing it is, that since lately, I have occasionally shared Dana Lausch on the NRA and a couple of things like that from the NRA TV, but that Facebook has recognized me as very, very conservative.
Well, it's not the point they've recognized you as very conservative. The point is that they are putting you into a category,
right,
which then that data is trolled by people looking for very conservative minded people to feed information into, to sell to market to use your data somewhere else.
Right. And not only that, but in my personal feed, my daily news feed, try to sway me the opposite direction.
Right. So if you're very conservative in Facebook, right?
Yeah.
If that's what Facebook says.
That's what they say.
Then they know what to send your way to maybe move you.
Right. It's very disturbing.
Darn. Wow. One more time, I promise I trust everything. But you went to Facebook and this is on your page that anybody,
yes.
Are you telling me anybody can go?
This is the directions.
If you're at home, read the directions of what to do.
Yes. I'll leave this on the screen for a minute. So you go to your settings. It's in the, whenever you go on to log in and out, right there's your settings. And then you go to your account settings. And then you have specific ads that Facebook, I didn't even know this, that they will send to you. Hence, that they know I'm very conservative, so they'll send me over Democratic ads. You click on your information, your categories, and then go to U.S. politics. And in the line on U.S. politics, like mine, you will see what they have, deemed you. And mine is very conservative.
And anyone can go do that. And like Amanda is telling you this morning, is what happens now is they now know what to send into your news feed to maybe change your mind. Correct?
Yes.
Wow, that's
yes. And I'd actually gotten this from I wouldn't call it a credible news source. I've never even heard of this, page. But when I did it, it was true. So I was blown aback by this. I couldn't even.
Well, you do know
I'm so
Facebook knows
that Facebook
now.
has labeled me.
Yeah, but you do know Facebook knows now you went to that page.
Yeah, it's even more disturbing.
I want to come back. I want to wrap up one more thing, but I don't want to spin off of this. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back, folks, with the end of our show. Let's talk about walking out of schools. Teachers, not the students this time, Kentucky and Oklahoma, before we wrap.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest roll of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an event can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia: LJ, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Medium Pizza Hut pizzas just $5.99 each.
Did they say Pizza Hut?
For $5.99?
Yes, and yes.
Yes! Introducing the deal you want on the pizza you crave. 2 medium pizzas just $5.99 each. No one out pizzas the hut.
US of A. CNN is okay if their propaganda is on every TV in every school in America. CNN is okay with it if they write the questions and set everything up for the town hall. CNN is okay if they do a town hall for James Comey, as they're preparing to do. Former director of the CIA should be jailed and held. Well, we'll go into that later. Don't have enough time. CNN's okay with that. CNN's okay with the March for Our Lives forgetting to put Mr. Pollock's son, I forget his name, on the list and say it was an accident. CNN's okay as long as they're giving David Hogg all the airtime they can, and Kasky and the other little communist girl, I forget her name, CNN Gomez, or that's the Adams family, Gomez, right? Adam Gomez. Anyhow, they're okay with that, as you don't get close, near, or truth in rural America. Never again. Now, folks, West Virginia schools, all right. Now, you continue out the stock market, and I just want to make this one of those things that I just want to encourage you to go and research, okay? Go research. But the Tucky, all right, the teachers' unions, let me make sure that you understand something, and let me get directed to the camera. Our news network, fetchyournews.com. Okay, this is a 2-hour opinion show that I do. Clearly my opinion. But FetchYourNews.com, myself personally, my opinion, and FYNTV.com, at no time do we not support good teachers. Same goes with law enforcement. You have our full support. Okay? What they do is they use the teachers. They use certain things where the teachers are concerned to try to create a narrative and sell their agenda. Teachers' unions are not out here in Oklahoma and Kentucky fighting for textbooks. They're not. When a child holds a textbook up and says, I am still learning out of this textbook that was created or written into, it's not true, okay? When the unions find a couple talking heads to say, frustrated educators are asking politicians to do the math on Monday as increase in wages. So they always go with teachers' pay. Oh, yes, I'm in favor of teachers' pay. Watch. And school funding. Every public school in Kentucky and many in Oklahoma of raising money and paying out of their pockets unfunded classrooms. Not true. In Oklahoma, one teacher held a sign that simply read 5,655. The amount of money she raised after the last 2 years for basic supplies for her students. Not true. None of it's true, folks. None of it's true. You don't have a governor in Oklahoma. You don't have a governor in Kentucky. Now, my point is, schools are not underfunded. Be careful before you throw rocks through the screens. Classrooms are not underfunded. Be careful. Don't throw rocks through the screen. Okay? Teacher, now be careful. You're getting ready to throw a rock. There's plenty. Got it? Plenty of money. Just want that to soak in. I want you to look at something before you get on the bandwagon of Oklahoma, Kentucky, and West Virginia, how their schools don't have supplies. And teachers have to raise their own money to put their signs up in their classroom. And teachers have to raise their own money and not being paid well. There's not, the textbooks are not where they need to be at the time for educating our children. It's not true. Did I say this already? There's plenty. Okay? Now, one, they love East. Now, we're not going to go out of Oklahoma and Kentucky right now. We're going to stay here in Georgia. Not saying it's the worst thing, but they love it. They love that penny. It's just a penny. Bring it in by the hundreds and hundreds of thousands. And we build agricultural centers. And look at these states here. And we build performing arts. And we build schools. And we buy on buses. We do everything. There's plenty of money. Go to your counties. I do not know how Kentucky, West Virginia, or Oklahoma works. I do understand Georgia. Go in those states and look at the disparity. Look at the difference of your property tax going to schools. See if the largest amount, I'm going to say off the top of my head, 76%. Okay, I hope if I'm making a mistake, somebody will let me. In the county where I'm broadcasting this morning, when you pay $1 in taxes to the county where I'm broadcasting this morning, 76 pennies of it goes over to the school and 24 pennies of it go over, period. Check your property tax. See if you're not in high 60s, 70s, teetering on 75 of your dollar going over to the schools. Check and see if you have a special purpose, an E-SPLOST, education, special purpose, local option sale. Check. Okay? Go and look at the front end of all of administration in your school systems. You can take the money you have today in school systems and rearrange the same dollar. And there should never be a teacher. A teacher should get a good supplement to decorate their room for every season or every class study that they, if it's science and they're getting ready to do a new study every 4 weeks, get enough supplement to decorate and have the equipment for that 4-week study. There should be plenty of money, and there is. There should be a good balance to cover everything. Look at the state education system that overpowers the local education system, that has central offices all over your state, in your counties, that have to employ people just to meet all the mandates that the states require. Look at how much money go to your Board of Education office, your central office, not Board of, go to your central office and just do the salaries in the central office. Now, let's not get personal, people. It's your tax money. Let's not get personal. It's not I like somebody, dislike somebody. Let's not get personal. It's not whether I think we should have this position, shouldn't. I don't know. Check how much money is going in that central office and how many people are required to operate your school system. Then go into your schools with all of the things we have going on with safety and gun control and everything. I understand things change because I get the Neanderthal knuckle dragging look that, we can't go back to the 1950s. And I was not in the 1950s anyway, unless you go Michael J. Fox, Back to the Future. Okay. Sorry, McFly. I wasn't there. But I know you're going to say, well, we had one principal and one vice principal. All right. I remember the grade school I attended when it became such a big deal to the entire principal. Now go to your school, see how many vice principals, counseling, how many people you have in the top end. Now that's all I want to say on that because I only have 7 minutes. The reality is there's not enough money to pay the pensions, okay? They can tell you anything they want, okay? They do not highlight. This is from the Lexington Herald Ledger in Kentucky. Teachers, public workers sing goodbye to lawmakers who vote for pension bill, okay? When it comes to the tariffs and it comes to the trade deficit, there's been many times that I have said and wonder if America is ready to go through what's necessary to fix things. This right here is an issue, and that's why West Virginia, Oklahoma, Kentucky, we have just started, folks. You talk about the stock market being down, relax. They're going to come out and tell you the stock market is down, and it could hurt you, the teacher, your pensions. That's not what hurts your pensions. Vote against pension bill. Now, this is in Kentucky, and this is February 28th. We're only in April 3rd. Vote against pensions bill or face defeat at the polls. Teachers warn lawmakers. Okay? Na, hey, goodbye was the chant. That was the blunt political message hundreds of teachers and public workers sang Wednesday to lawmakers who plan to support a proposal overhaul of Kentucky's ailing public school pension system. Okay? They filled 4 hearing rooms and many of the hallways in the Capitol Annex as the Senate, State, and Local Government Committee discussed but did not vote on Senate Bill 1. All right? Now, let me explain this to you. Not getting down the road, but why are you not hearing this in Georgia? Because Georgia continues to fully fund as fast as they can anything that has to do with the teacher because they don't want to have the problem. The politicians under the Gold Dome on the campaign trail. They don't want to lose the teachers' vote. But Bevins, the governor of Kentucky, knows he's facing something. You don't have enough money. If you will look at it, you don't have enough money to fund the pensions in Georgia. It's just never talked about, folks. You are short funding the pensions of teachers in Georgia. Nobody wants to talk about it. But the media and under the Gold Dome, the politicians there will continue to give you the impression of what they're doing for education and fully funding QBE, as they called it, aka Common Core, QBE in Georgia. And all the austerity cuts have been now fully funded in Georgia. So why? They don't lose the teacher vote in the election. But it's coming. Kentucky, Oklahoma, all right, watch and see, Illinois, West Virginia, it's coming. The tsunami teachers unions especially is coming. It's going to collapse. We're going to have to bail it out, pay it out. If you think, okay, if you think a $1 trillion spending bill for infrastructure, if you think in Georgia that the transportation bill allowing a penny, allowing counties within 13 counties to vote in Metro Atlanta area whether they want to raise 1 penny in taxes to pay for transportation expansion and upgrade, if you think any of these are enormous or egregious, you wait to see what happens in your legislative house somewhere in America when you have no choice for it, and do not accept that it's there because, don't accept it's there because, don't accept that they're walking out because they don't have textbooks and they don't have enough money to decorate their classrooms. Nothing could be further from the truth. We have told you today that the pouting hog did not win. Let's see if the president has tweeted. No, 2 hours ago was his last tweet. We do know what's going on with Amazon. And let me see if the president has anything new here, Amanda. Oh, 2 minutes ago. 2 minutes ago. I mean, we're breaking news right here. I am right about, this is from President Donald Trump, I am right about Amazon costing the United States Post Office massive amounts of money for being their delivery boy. That's true, folks. That's true. Absolutely true. We'll take that on tomorrow. Amazon should pay their cost plus and not have them borne by the not have the cost borne by the American taxpayer. Many billions of dollars, PO leaders, post office. That's just all there is to it. And the bottom line, president says that's got that. Gun control. What I would like to, Amanda, is I would like to close with that little funny clip. So in the recording on the show, so we don't get bumped for it. There's a little funny clip on gun control. And it's funny because sometimes you go back to the 70s and it's 2016, and we're still talking gun control. So I'm your host, BKP, and we'll be back tomorrow morning, FYNTV.com, FetcherNews.com. And let's take you out with this little funny clip that I hope you'll stay with. Go ahead, Amanda.
Officer gets out and looks at me and says, "Sir, do you have a gun in your car?"
Here we are. All right, everybody clam up.
Mr. Archie Bunker, speaking in reply to the editorial broadcast last Saturday.
Good evening, everybody. This is Archie Bunker of 704 Houser Street, veteran of the big war, speaking on behalf of Guns for Everybody. Now, question. What was the first thing that the communists done when they took over Russia? Answer, gun control. And there's a lot of people in this country want to do the same thing to us here in a kind of conspiracy, see. You take your big international bankers, they want to, masticate the people of this here nation like puppets on a wing. And then when they get that done, turn us over to the communists.
Oh, Archie, I'm glad they put you on a stool. You look taller sitting down.
I want to talk about another thing that's on everybody's mind today, and that's your stick-ups and your skyjackers, which, if that was up to me, I could end the skyjackers tomorrow.
You could?
All you got to do is arm all your passengers. And then he ain't got no more superiority there. He ain't going to dare to pull out no rod. And then your airlines, then they wouldn't have to chase the passengers on the ground no more. They just pass out the pistols at the beginning of the trip, and they pick them up again at the end. Case closed.
That's incredible,